The next rounds will be released. Good morning. We'll call this meeting of the Bucks County Commissioners, December 15th, 2021 meeting to order. We'll begin with our Pledge of Allegiance. Katie Marseglia from the Hub and Hannah Boscola, Administrative Assistant, will lead us in the pledge. Thank you, everyone. And we have a number of activities this morning, and we will begin with the 2021 Bucks County Poet Laureate, and Commissioner Harvey will do that.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's our pleasure to issue this proclamation to Ms. Nicole Steinberg. Whereas Nicole Steinberg of Newtown has earned the prestigious distinction of being the 45th Bucks County Poet Laureate, continuing a literary tradition begun in 1977 that now stands as the longest-running program of its kind in Pennsylvania. And whereas Ms. Steinberg was selected from among dozens of entrants by two accomplished poets from Philadelphia and Columbus, Ohio, who served as judges in this year's annual contest, which is administered by the Bucks County Community College, and which we are proud to sponsor. And whereas poetry is an art form and art is a lifestyle for Ms. Steinberg, who is the Chief Marketing Communications Officer for Moore College of Art and Design in Philadelphia, and whereas Ms. Steinberg, a Newtown resident, has published two books called The Glass Actress and Getting Lucky, as well as various chapbooks including Fat Dreams, Clever Little Gang, and two titles, Undressing and Birds of Tokyo. And whereas in addition, Ms. Steinberg is the founder and curator of New York's Earshot reading series, and since 2019 has served on the board of the American Poetry Review, with her own poems featured or reviewed by the New York Times, Newsweek, Flavor Wire, and Hyperallergenic. And whereas aside from poetry, Ms. Steinberg enjoys spending time with her wife Laura and their French bulldog, as well as going to concerts, reading, cooking, traveling to new and well-loved places, and engaging in various forms of retail therapy, especially for earrings and books. Now, therefore, do we, the Bucks County Board of Commissioners, hereby recognize and congratulate Nicole Steinberg as the 2021 Bucks County Poet Laureate. In doing so, we commend Ms. Steinberg's talents and leadership in conveying the beauty of poetry to individual readers and the community at large. We encourage all citizens in Bucks County and beyond to turn to her poems for creative inspiration.
Thank you very much. Would you like to come up? Do you have a poem you wanted to read for us?
Thank you so much for having me. This is a real honor and a pleasure to be with all of you today. I have two poems. The first one is called, How Can You Think About Passover at a Time Like This? But how can I not? The comforting brownness of it all. Mountains, why leap like rams? You hills like lambs. I think of my mother reaching for her own mother under the Seder table. Their favorite passage of an annual script, a table read we knew by heart. And this year, what will we make? Just for two of us. Beef, potatoes, charoset, maybe a kugel. I watch Elle pace, wish I could smear my own blood over our threshold to keep her safe. I don't have a firstborn, but I do have a first love. Trimming back dahlias around the wren's springtime nest. Silly millennials wary of the mysterious side B of our lives. Elle says she's scared. Me too, I reply. Especially when I think of how often I will open a door this year to welcome no one into the house but the air. Second life. In my second life, I notice small heaps of roadkill, either more often or in new ways. Difficult to tell if an animal died in a moment of desperation or ambition, crushed into its most velveteen parts. In my second life, there are no mothers and also many mothers volunteering for the job, and whisperings that maybe I too am secretly a mother, per the children's furniture catalogs wedged into my mail slot and baby formula samples that land on my doorstep, already gone to waste. In my second life, cold yogurt hurts my teeth, and there are chicken carcasses in the trash, plucked from soup, the likes of which my post-college kitchen appliances have never seen. For my love, I shop for earrings, candy, novelty spatulas. I take a last-minute train to see her when she's feeling low. I'm romantic, maybe, for the very first time. Otherwise, I'm still trying to figure out what smells in the fridge. I don't recall much about college aside from the loneliness, the grappling with uncomfortable truths, anxious kisses, and a personality of parlor tricks birthed on the perimeter of daunting, snowy woods. I'm a poet, but I'm also ordinary. In my second life, I hunger. And so often, in a quiet room, a woman considers me, peering over the rim of her eyeglasses, and insists I too have the right to be in the sun. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I'd like to do a picture and view your proclamation. Thank you so much. Yes, stay up there.
Thank you so much.
It's good seeing you again.
Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. That was wonderful. Commissioner DiGirolamo has our 2021 Distinguished Service to Agriculture Award. I don't think he's here.
Is Dr. Diamond, Jim, is he here?
I think we're going to go ahead and read it, and if he does arrive, we will take a picture then.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to read this proclamation that we have for Dr. Jim Diamond, who has received the 2021 Distinguished Service to Agriculture Award from the Pennsylvania Farm Bureau in recognition of his work and service that has significantly contributed to the advancement of the Commonwealth's agriculture. Dr. Diamond has dedicated nearly 60 years of his life to teaching agriculture to students across Pennsylvania, including at the Upper Bucks County Area Vocational Technical School at Penn State University and as Dean of Agricultural and Environmental Sciences at Delaware Valley University. Dr. Diamond's international work includes 2 years with the Peace Corps teaching farmers in Chad, Africa, as well as 7 years with the United Nations as an international agricultural and extension education consultant, teaching and discussing farm management strategies in, get this, China, Cuba, Bulgaria, Ethiopia, and other African countries. Amazing. Born and raised on his family beef farm in Fayette County, Dr. Diamond and his wife Betty chose Cedar Brook Farm in Artsville, Bucks County as their home base in between their world travels. As an author, Dr. Diamond has published numerous technical papers, instructional booklets and materials, journals, articles, and 7 prose poetry books, which document his experiences from more than 46 nations. Dr. Diamond continues to hold board positions with several agricultural associations, including the Bucks County Farm Bureau, and continues to spread his knowledge of agriculture to those at home and abroad. Now, therefore, we do, the board of the Bucks County Commissioners, Diane Morseglia, Bob Harvey, and Jean DiGirolamo, hereby proclaim Dr. Jim Diamond the recipient of the 2021 Distinguished Service to Agriculture Award throughout the county of Bucks, and urge citizens to listen and take care of the land around them. Well, it's quite a resume and quite a proclamation, and hopefully Dr. Diamond will be here in a little bit, and we'll be able to recognize him in person.
Absolutely. We'll stop when he gets here. Thank you very much for reading it. Next, we have a video for our next item, and this is from the Special Equestrians. You can go ahead and run that.
Hello, my name is John, and my daughter Miranda has been riding here at Special Equestrians for a little over 3 years. from attending Special Equestrians Therapeutic Riding. She has demonstrated improved core strength, can run much better, and has better quality of movements with jumping, skipping, and any transitional movements as well. It gives my wife and I tremendous joy to watch Miranda get so excited. Every Tuesday, she knows that when she comes home from school, she gets to get ready. She gets to put her boots on, put her helmet on, and get ready for her therapeutic riding classes.
Thank you. So the horse that you just saw with Miranda in that actually is an award-winning horse. His name is Z, and Z is the Pennsylvania Therapeutic Horse Champion, but he could not get in the building today. So we were not able to bring Z, although we are going to award him. But he sent a friend, so we thought we would introduce you to Glow, one of Z's best friends. Just bear with us. Good morning. Good morning. Here, we are ready. We just showed the video, and we said that Z couldn't get in today, so that you brought Glow to be able to talk to us. Good morning.
Good morning. I guess she goes all the way out.
We are all ready for Glow here in the room. And look at those shoes, sparkly dance shoes. So I'm going to just read you a quick proclamation to Z, and then if you want to say a few words. Dear Miss May, we, the Board of Bucks County Commissioners, congratulate you, the entire Special Equestrian team, and your wonderful, wonderful horse Z for winning the Pennsylvania National Horse Show Foundation 2021 Therapy Horse of the Year. Z was a competitive jumper before he came to you, but in embarking on his second career, he seems to have found his true calling. In the care of the staff at Special Equestrian, Z has come to embody the characteristics of a world-class therapy horse, allowing exceptional intuition in his responses and body language as he teaches people to ride. Research has shown us the benefits of therapeutic riding. The practice imparts on students physical, mental, and emotional rewards and is a boon to people with impaired mobility, as well as responses in body language as they learn to ride. The staff and volunteers at Special Equestrians, along with Z and his 10 equine co-workers, are a critical component in a network of providers working to bring this valuable form of treatment to Bucks County. We commend you and the Special Equestrian family for your superior work in this field, and we join all Bucks Countyans in wishing you continued success. But we'd like to give you this, and I was wondering if you'd like to talk and introduce us to Lauren and Janice, and this is Mary Jo. But you have to stand at the podium because that's where the mic is.
Okay. Well, first of all, we deeply appreciate the honor that you have bestowed on us. Special Equestrians is a special place. We work with people with a variety of disabilities from age 3 to 70s. We also work with at-risk youth and addiction recovery programs and cancer support programs. Our program director, Janice, has got Glow's lead, and our barn manager, Laura, is also part of the team. But it really is a team. We have wonderful, wonderful volunteers, and all of our staff is dedicated, and of course, the equines that Glow is representing today. So we appreciate the support of the commissioners, and we're so fortunate to have received this proclamation today. And Glow is here representing Z because Z is about 4 times her size, and I don't think he would have fit in the building.
Can you tell us about Glow?
Glow is a mini, she's a mini, it's a dwarf mini, I believe, mini horse. She is 19. She pulls a cart. So we have some people that maybe are a little uncomfortable riding or have chosen to learn to drive the cart, and she goes everywhere. She has special sneakers to keep her from sliding on the floor. We were told, although I don't know that we've ever tried it, that she goes in elevators. And one of the things that has happened because of COVID, groups have not been able to come to us. We take Glow and some of our other horses places. And one of the places that we've taken Glow in particular that I found really, really touching is we took her to a nursing home, and she just went around, and we have some photographs of her putting her head in a woman's lap who was in a wheelchair. So these are amazing, amazing animals, and Glow is just our ambassador today.
Well, we thank you. We're going to come down. We have a couple things along with the commendation. And we'll take some pictures, if that's all right. Everybody's got pictures, right?
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Look at those shoes. The shoes are priceless. Thank you. And speaking of horses and farms, Dr. Diamond is here. So we were hoping that you would come up. We have a proclamation, but you might have some remarks you'd like to make.
Right at the podium here, sir. Right at the
Right
podium,
there.
yep.
There's a microphone there. So. If you want to take your mask off to speak, that's fine.
I'm sorry?
You can take your mask off to speak if that helps.
Good. Thank you very much for acknowledging this event that I was involved in a couple weeks ago. And I'm very pleased that the commissioners have acknowledged this as well. An award can be defined as a symbol of recognition given in honor of an achievement. It was indeed a profound honor for it to be placed amongst those honorable and dedicated Pennsylvania farmers and agricultural leaders who preceded me in this prestigious award and recognition. I have been blessed with a 47-year career as a farmer and agricultural educator that took me far, far beyond my wildest expectations. Who would have ever thought that this naive farm boy who stuttered and despised high school from rural Fayette County in southwestern Pennsylvania would one day become an instructor of animal science at his alma mater, a vocational agriculture teacher at the Upper Bucks County area Votech School, an agricultural Peace Corps volunteer who was assigned to the president of Chad, Francois Tumbleby, in Africa, a professor of agriculture and extension education at Pennsylvania State University, an international agriculture education consultant for the United Nations, and dean for the agriculture and environmental sciences at my alma mater, Delaware Valley University. This all became a reality because of a glorious 55-year marriage with my late wife, Betty, and a plethora of friends who encouraged and supported me all along the way. Martin Luther King once stated, and I quote, "I have a dream," unquote. Yes, I also had a dream that one day in the future, I would make myself into someone of eminence who could leave behind a footprint that benefits humankind. Many people have a dream, but do not make their dreams become real. And keeping hold of a dream without causing it to convert into reality idles away the present. In spite of this, everyone should have a dream with an aspiration to cause it to emerge at some point during his or her lives. There's a French expression that best expresses my point, and it goes like this: On doit avoir une raison d'être. It means one must have a reason to be. And to appreciate the fullest enjoyment and fulfillment from life, everyone doit avoir une raison d'être. Dreams, whatever they may be, causes one to have a reason to be. My dreams focused on domestic and international agricultural endeavors that help people help themselves. I hope and pray that my career efforts prevail into a legacy which in some way will benefit humankind, leaving our planet a better place to live for future generations. As a resident of Bucks County for 64 wonderful years, I have served as a director for these associations: the Bucks County Conservation District, the Bucks Montgomery County Sheep and Wool Growers Association, the Bucks County Beekeepers Association, the Bucks County Cooperative Extension Board, Bucks County Farm Bureau, Plumsteadville Grange, plus being an agricultural educator and a 4-H leader. I profusely thank you, the Bucks County Commissioners, for acknowledging this prestigious recognition, and I truly hope and pray that my agricultural endeavors have impacted agricultural advancement in Bucks County. I would like to close by quoting the late John Wooden, who directed teams of the University of California to 10 national collegiate Championships, who once said, "The most powerful leadership tool you have is your own personal example." And my personal agricultural leadership modus of operandi has always been to lead by personal examples, because adults and young people often do not hear, or they do not learn by what they hear, but they tend to remember what their educators do. Again, thank you for your recognition of this prestigious accolade. Thank you.
Can you come up and we'll take a picture? Thank you, and we have your proclamation.
Thank you.
And we'd like to take some pictures with you, if that's okay. It's perfect.
So stand here, Dr. Diamond, stand here and turn around.
And they're ready for us.
Hey, Jim.
What year did you graduate?
61.
60?
61.
61.
Good seeing you again.
All right, God bless.
Take care. Good to see
Congratulations.
you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I see no one has signed up for public comments on the agenda. So is there a motion for approval of our consent agenda, including the minutes from the December 1st, 2021 meeting?
So moved?
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Moving to our regular agenda, the first thing is from our law department, authorizing the county solicitor to settle and release County of Bucks claims against opioid distributors McKesson Corporation, Cardinal Health, Amerisource Bergen Corporation, and manufacturers Johnson & Johnson, Janssen Pharmaceuticals, Ortho McNeil, Janssen Pharmaceuticals, and Janssen Pharmaceuticals as part of the settlement negotiated by the Pennsylvania Attorney General.
Thank you, Commissioner. The public has received a lot of updates over the last year or so about all the opioid litigation, and this one really requires a bit, I think, of further explanation. This is a potentially historic and groundbreaking settlement that has the potential to ultimately do what these lawsuits were supposed to do, which is to provide damages and in many ways sort of reimbursement to places like Bucks County that have really been paying for the costs of dealing with the opioid epidemic across the country. As it says on this agenda, these are 4 major companies that have a significant role in this epidemic, and there is a global settlement that has been negotiated, and with respect to Pennsylvania, the negotiator in chief has been our Attorney General, Josh Shapiro. The terms of that proposed settlement involve a potential $1 billion of funding coming into Pennsylvania and its subdivisions through payments from these 4 companies. With the Attorney General having negotiated that potential pot of funds, there has been substantial negotiations between county governments, including Bucks County, and the Attorney General as to how that money would be allocated. Would this money all go into a state fund where legislators and others in Harrisburg would decide how that money is spent, which was a lot of what the early discussions were about? Or would this be a allocation in which those on the ground, those who have been at the forefront of dealing with this crisis through social service agencies, through drug and alcohol programs like we have here in Bucks County, would have a leadership role in that? And what we anticipate the county being able to sign on for is an allocation of Bucks County's portion that really reflects the the appropriateness of county governments deciding how the lion's share of that money is spent. In a nutshell, what this settlement does is it really gives an incentive for all of the stakeholders, county governments, municipalities, to sign on to this. The more counties and the more municipalities that agree to this, the more money there will be for everyone. And so this has led across the state to county governments, whether they're represented by Democrats, Republicans, or some combination of that, to really be very outspoken in embracing this. And I know all three of these commissioners, in their own ways, have really rolled up their sleeves and gotten involved in both thinking about and also making the case for why this makes sense for Bucks. So it's a little hard right now because we still have a few weeks for all of these other counties and cities and municipalities to make a decision as to whether they're signing on. If everyone does agree to this this settlement, and we could be looking as much as $45.6 million of funding coming into Bucks County over the years to abate the opioid epidemic. And if people are not signing on, then that number could be substantially lower. What we do know about the way that whatever funds are going to be split up is going to, it's going to basically look at which counties have been the hardest hit. And so it's not strictly looking at how big the counties are, but in the case of Bucks County, we are the fourth largest county. We would also stand to gain the fourth largest share of that money. Overall, what has been negotiated is a settlement in which 70% of all the funding here is going to go to county governments, regardless of whether they'd filed a lawsuit like Bucks County. And then of those county and municipal governments that had filed lawsuits like Bucks County did, there's an additional 15%. So we're part of this 85% grouping of money coming in, with 15% of the remainder being spent by those at the state level. And at this point, where we are is we actually are not ready for the commissioners to sign documents, but because we have a projected deadline of early January, I believe it's January 2nd, we thought it was important that we have the authorization for myself, the county solicitor, to sign any necessary documents. And a vote today to approve this would in fact make sure that we have complied with all of our obligations under the law, and provided that we are satisfied that the final paperwork is in accordance with what we have discussed with our council and with other stakeholders, then Bucks will preserve its ability to receive this money. This is all money that is litigation funding or litigation relief. This is not reflected in the budget that is being voted on today. So this would all be additional funds to bring down the out-of-pocket cost that Bucks County and its taxpayers have been spending over the years on all of this important relief that this administration has been supporting to deal with this epidemic. And finally, because I know all three commissioners have done so much work. Commissioner Marseglia, her work in the social services with these agencies throughout her tenure as a commissioner. Commissioner DiGirolamo keeping a very close eye on the role that Harrisburg could play in making sure that whatever we could do to ensure that county governments like Bucks got its fair share. The commissioner has been very involved in these negotiations, and Commissioner Harvey just recently, a few weeks ago, along with myself, met with other county commissioners in Hershey during a presentation by the Attorney General to explain why this is so important that we do that. And with that, Commissioner, I would turn this back to you and the other commissioners for anything.
Thank you. Any questions, concerns?
Just a comment, if I could. This has been a long time coming, and I want to commend the Attorney General, Josh Shapiro. He was one of the national leaders in approving this settlement with the three distributors and Johnson & Johnson. The damage and the heartbreak that these four companies have given, not only here in Bucks County, but across this country, is nothing short of appalling and catastrophic. If it was up to me, and again, the Attorney General did the best he could, this settlement for $23 billion for the whole country, it should be paid every year for the next 18 years if it was up to me. But unfortunately, that we're dealing with a situation where these companies have threatened to go into bankruptcy, and we are potentially might come away with nothing if we don't settle on this amount. And it is a substantial amount of money. As you heard, $45+ million coming to Bucks County, but that's over the next 18 years. I believe about a quarter of that is front-loaded, so we might get that right away in the first couple of years. The one concern that I still have, as Joe has outlined, is how this money is going to be distributed and allocated back to the counties. My fear is that the legislature could get involved in the distribution. The Attorney General has come up with what I consider a reasonable plan on distribution, which is 70% to the county and another 15. So it's really 85% coming back to the county, not only Bucks, but the other counties around Pennsylvania. The counties know the best way to spend this money. There is still a tremendous need in this epidemic, especially this opiate epidemic, and need for treatment and education. So we in the county know the best way where we're going to spend this money. So if, and talking to our attorneys to represent Bucks County, if the attorneys general way to distribute this money is not what's going to be the end result, that we can here in Bucks County back out of this agreement and go out on our own if we choose to. So there's some good news here, but we still have to be a little bit careful moving forward. But you know, $45 million is a lot of money, and I know we'll put it to good use. There's a lot of need still for treatment. The death rate from these opiates continues to rise. I think nationally it's a 30% increase, or going to be a 30% increase in 2021 from 2020, and that is just absolutely appalling and outrageous. And these people are responsible for this. And the other good part about this is that they are not getting a get-out-of-jail-free card. So states and the federal government can still go after these companies for criminal charges, if we can find criminal charges. The way they marketed this garbage, not only to the general public, but to the medical community, and dismiss the harms that it was doing, again, it's just absolutely appalling. So I think we're doing the right thing, signing on to this agreement, but also we need to make sure that the money comes back to us here in Bucks County and the other counties, because we know best how to spend it. Thank you.
Thank you, and you're right, there's no amount of money that could heal this pain. Commissioner Harvey?
Thank you. Commissioner DiGirolamo spoke very eloquently and covered all the major points. And the only thing I would add, and we're in complete agreement, all three of us, on this, there are still companies, distributors, manufacturers who are being sued. This doesn't settle the case with opioids for every company that was involved in peddling this around our country. And so the hope is that this agreement, which again, echo Commissioner DiGirolamo's comments about, congratulating Attorney General Shapiro on his work, leading other attorneys general to formulate this agreement, really could be a model for future settlements with other companies that are being, taken to court about their role in the epidemic that's been, crushing a lot of communities across this country and this Commonwealth. Looking forward to getting this piece approved. We do need, another part of this is that every community in Bucks County, 10,000 people or more, also has to vote in favor of this, whether they have sued or not. That is the best way we can make sure that Pennsylvania gets its total allotment from this suit and make sure Bucks County gets its total allotment from this suit. So we've been reaching out to communities to make sure that they're aware of that and answering any questions they have and working with them to make sure that they're on board with this as well.
Thank you. Thank you. And number 24, there are two parts to this workforce economic development. The first is to approve a list of businesses and nonprofits to be awarded funds in Phase 1 of the Bucks Business Recovery Grant Program funded by the American Rescue Plan Act. And the second is Visit Bucks County, VBC, Bensalem, to approve a contract for marketing and revitalization of local tourism funded by the American Rescue Plan Act. Commissioner Harvey, do you want to start with the
Sure,
grants?
thank you. Yeah, this board announced in September that we were going to launch another round of Bucks Back to Work small business grants using the American Rescue Plan funds, some of the American Rescue Plan funds that we have been allocated. We had an open enrollment application period in October, November time period. The county received almost 1,000 applications from small businesses around Bucks County. We are going to be awarding these in sort of rounds as we've been relying on our economic development agencies to kind of do the reviews of these applications. And so the first tranche that we're able to give today is almost $2.4 million. That'll be going to about 253 companies and businesses around Bucks County. The second round will be at the first meeting in January. And then we'll have another round that'll be distributed at our second meeting in January. So we are, and we're looking forward to sort of a phase 4. We can take a look at some other applications that have come in, and also take a look at some nonprofits and see where they fall in. So that'll likely be in February. So if you're not in this 253 company tranche, but but you're in part of the companies that are going to be awarded. The money will get there. We're going to get it to you. And the grants range everywhere from $2,000 to $30,000. We did try to prioritize with these grants, making sure that we were helping first businesses who had not previously gotten grants from the county. We want to make sure that anybody who maybe didn't apply last year, didn't know about it, still suffering through some of the impacts of the pandemic, if they met those criteria, we wanted to make sure we got that money first. So I want to thank Ms. McKevitt for all the work she's put into this, as well as our workforce economic development agency has been working very hard on this, and our economic development partners who have been doing all the reviews. Do you want to add anything, or? Yeah. Okay.
Any questions or anything? And we have Paul Bensavango here from the Visit Bucks to tell us a little bit about these tourism grants, and then after that, maybe you can stay and tell us a little bit about the tourism grants that we just gave out recently, the 70 of them.
Oh, sure. Let me pull that up. 1 second. Before I talk about the ARP dollars, so in conjunction with the county, Visit Bucks County, we were able to distribute $659,000 to 52 hospitality organizations. There'll be a release coming out in the next few days on that. And those are for marketing, special events, product development, and capital improvements. And those are dollars that come from the lodging tax on properties. So again, that's 52 organizations in the industry received $659,000. Thank you very much. So if we could look back just for a second to talk about the impacts that the pandemic has had on the hospitality industry. You'll see here in 2019, there was 8.29 million people that visit Bucks County, and that number's been growing every year. You'll see in 2020, that number dropped by a couple million people, that 6 million people visited. You move to the next slide. So that decrease in visitation translated into a 27% drop in economic impact. In 2019, the economic impact of visitor spending in Bucks County was more than $1 billion. In 2020, it was 787. So more than $200 million was lost from our economy due to visitors not coming. Supported by CARES dollars from the county, we were able to launch a robust marketing campaign in 2021. And as you may have read, 2021 was an up year. We rebounded very quickly. We attribute that not only to our location between New York and Philadelphia, the countryside, the outdoors. It was also the marketing and the advertising that we were able to amplify all there is to see and do here in the county. So we launched that campaign just at the end of the holidays in 2020, put it on pause, and then in 21, the spring through the summer, and even through fall, a lot of our hotels and attractions, retail has seen, they've rebounded just very fast. Next slide. So now with the ARP dollars, our national association, the U.S. Travel Association, has advocated to have local tourism offices like ourselves, as well as state tourism offices, to receive ARP dollars to, again, help amplify the marketing message that will bring visitors here, continue to bring visitors here to Bucks County, to create economic impact and support jobs. The one number that you didn't see here is in a normal year, there's 30,000 hospitality jobs in Bucks County. So at the end of the day, that's what the tourism office does. We market to bring people here to create economic impact and support jobs. So we're looking to, again, to work with the county to receive ARP dollars. Next slide. So we'll turn a little bit on toward the end of the year here to encourage some of those short-term, some of the New Yorkers and Philadelphians looking to do something between Christmas and New Year's. So that's very effective with social marketing that we really leverage and YouTube pre-roll. But the bulk of the ARP dollars will be used to launch the spring campaign with new commercials that we have, marketing in New York and Philadelphia. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Questions?
Again, any questions? We again appreciate the support from the county. It's been tremendous. Hospitality, as we all have been, hospitality's been really through a roller coaster, and the demand is there now, and they're working through the staff shortage, but we're looking toward the future and remaining positive. Thank you.
Any questions?
Thank you, Paul.
No, thank you very much. Appreciate all your help.
Thank you, and thanks for coming to tell us about this today. So is there a motion to approve items 23A and 24A and B?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And we have two budget adjustments, 34 and 35 today. Mr. Buscola?
All right, thank you, Commissioner. Two budget adjustments for your consideration. There was an increase in utilization under the BHDP programs of $350,000. The impact to the general fund is $70,000 county match for those programs. And adjustment number 35, also an increase in utilization for the managed care unit. $23 million is covered 100% by state funding. No impact to the general fund for that adjustment.
Any questions for Mr. Buscola? Is there a motion to approve budget adjustments 34 and 35?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Moving on to our budget motions. These are the total adjustments to the general fund. First, on the 2022 county budget, tax levy, and appropriations. We will do these one at a time with a roll call vote. Motion to adopt the 2022 county budget as recommended by the Chief Financial Officer. Is there a motion? I can make that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Can you do the roll call?
Yes, Commissioner. Commissioner Marsaglia.
Aye.
Commissioner Harvey.
Aye.
Commissioner DiGirolamo.
Aye.
And two, adopt the 2022 county tax levies, millage rate, and user fee schedules as recommended by the Chief Financial Officer.
Commissioner Marsaglia.
Aye.
Commissioner Harvey.
Aye.
Commissioner DiGirolamo.
Aye.
And finally, approve the 2022 appropriations to county agencies and authorities as recommended by the Chief Financial Officer.
Commissioner Marsaglia.
Aye.
Commissioner Harvey.
Aye.
Commissioner DiGirolamo.
Aye.
Thanks, everybody. So we have a budget for next year. We have some personnel actions today. Is there a motion to approve our personnel actions?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Can I comment?
Sure.
I'm sorry,
Absolutely.
Madam
I'm
Chair.
sorry.
Yep. I just want to make a comment on the Conference and Visitors Bureau, the 4 appointments that are being made. 2 members who had served for a long time are not being reappointed, and that is Frank Lyons and Bill Brady. And I would just like to recognize the two of them for their hard work through the years, and I know Paul's out there, and I'm sure he would shake his head and say they've really done a terrific job. I certainly have no reason to vote for the members that are replacing them, and that's Paul Borger and Jonathan Snipes. I know Jonathan, I'm sure that both of them will do a really, really good job, but I do want to recognize the hard work of Frank and Bill Brady and the years of service to the Visitor Bureau. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. I'm trying to remember, do we make a motion on the personnel actions? No. So is there a motion for the personnel actions first?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then board appointments, thank you for your comments.
Yeah, we do have a lot of boards, seats come up at the end of the year or beginning of January, and so we have quite a few. So I'll do these, I guess, by board. So for the Board of Health, looking to appoint Ms. Barbara Shellhorn. It's a new appointment. Her term will end January 13th, 2025. This is to replace a member who had to step off. She, I believe, moved out of the county. I'll make a motion for that.
I'll second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. For the aforementioned Conference and Visitors Bureau, they work with Visit Bucks County. Again, echo Mr. DiGirolamo's or Commissioner DiGirolamo's comments about the gentlemen who are leaving the board. Thank them for their service. We're going to motion to reappoint Mr. Doug Miller and Mr. Robert McGowan, and two new appointments, Mr. Paul Boger, Mr. Jonathan Snipes. Mr. Boger would be a representative from Doylestown. There is no representative from Doylestown currently on the Conference of Visitors Bureau, so we felt like that was important to have somebody there. And as we've been talking a lot about agriculture today, Mr. Snipes, of course, is owner of one of the largest farms still operating in Lower Bucks County, is also involved in agritourism, and that was something we feel that's becoming a bigger and bigger part of Bucks County's economy and tourist economy is agritourism, so we wanted to have somebody from that industry on the tourism board. So I'll make a motion for those gentlemen. Their terms will become effective on January 1st, 2021, and they will run until December 31st, 2025. I'll make the motion for those four.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, for Conservation District, there does have to be one. These are also terms that become effective January 1st, 2022. They are a little different. There is one board member from the commissioners who has to serve on as a representative. So I was happy to serve this past year, and I've been told I'm also serving this year, is coming here as well. I don't know if I should nominate myself. I'll skip that one and go to the other two. Mr. John Frederick is a representative of the farming community. He is being reappointed to a term that will end December 31st, 2025. And Ms. Kelly McGowan is being appointed to her position also effective January 1st, will run till 12/31/25. So I'll make a motion for those two for the Conservation
Is
District.
there a second?
Second.
And I'll make a motion for Commissioner Bob Harvey to be appointed to the reappointed to the Conservation District. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of those three?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay, for the Drug and Alcohol Commission, there is one reappointment and three new appointments. Mr. Fred Haran, soon to be Sheriff of Bucks County. His term will end on 12/16/24. Mr. Joe Bardarillos, the Chief of Police in Middletown Township. Ms. Kay McBride, Ms. Megan Cohen, their terms all ending December 16th, 2024. I'll make a motion for those four.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. For the Delaware Valley Regional Planning Commission Public Participation Task Force, this is a 2-year term. Mr. Adam Spector will be a new appointment. Term will end 12/1/23. Mr. Matthew Tharacon is being reappointed. His term will end 12/1/2023. Both of these gentlemen were endorsed by the Bucks County Planning Commission.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. And one appointment for the Park and Rec Board, Mr. Christopher Wetzel. His term, a new appointment, his term will end on September 1st, 2026.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. That was quite a few. We're done for the year, though. And under other civics, we have two. One is for the Bucks County Special Equestrians who were here, $250. This is for their Christmas with the Herd event. And we have the American Red Cross, which we have given to earlier this year, but we would like to give another $2,000 donation. We are thinking of all of those people in Kentucky and the other states who experienced the tornado. It hit home for all of us because we experienced and saw the damage here in Bucks County. So we were grateful to our Red Cross and all the Red Cross that stepped up. And Bucks County's seen a number of fires lately, and the Red Cross has stepped up for those too. So we just wanted to make sure we made another donation. So that's $2,000. And I can make them in a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Chief Operating Officer, Ms. McKevitt?
Thank you, Commissioner. In the spirit of time, because we have a salary board meeting that's coming up, I just want to thank Dave Boscola and his team in finance for a fabulous 2022 budget, as well as the department heads, division leaders, and row offices, and our courts. Without all of the work that you've done on this budget, we would not be able to move forward next year as in our recovery efforts, also using the American Rescue Act funds. So thank you.
Thank you. Solicitors report, Mr. Khan.
Thank you, Commissioner. First, I want to report out on executive sessions. The board met with staff and legal counsel on December 11th to discuss the state Supreme Court's order regarding the statewide masking policy. The board also had its standing executive session yesterday and met with staff and legal counsel to receive information as well as discuss personnel and litigation matters, including the items that are on today's agenda. Finally, Commissioner, I'd like to close by discussing the ongoing efforts of the Law Department to help carry out your vision for diversity, equity, inclusion in the county, as well as end with a note of thanks in this holiday season. Earlier this year, we announced that our Law Department was pursuing Mansfield certification to recognize the important work that we've been doing to try and promote diversity, equity, inclusion, and also to make sure that we are embracing the best possible practices moving forward. Part of that process that we're going through, which is probably a 2-year process, is figuring out how we best leverage the county's status as a client with so many outside law firms wanting to work for the county, especially as there's less and less work to send out to outside counsel. And we want to make sure that we're encouraging those firms to be using the best practices in their respective offices. And we announced that we were forming an advisory group that would advise me as I advise the commissioners, comprised of members of the Bucks County Bar, who are those who know best what would work best in Bucks County, what the reality is on the ground. And I'm very pleased to announce that that group has met for the last 3 or 4 months, meeting weekly, and they've completed their work. They are a remarkable group of attorneys that are not only all accomplished lawyers here in Bucks County, several of whom represent the county in a number of matters, but they also represent individually the really rich diversity of the legal profession, both in terms of subject matter, but also having lived and worked in the space of advocating for women, for people of color, for the LGBTQ community, veterans, and those with disabilities. This group was chaired by Keon Growney, and was comprised of other attorneys in the private sector. They were Don Williford, Jung Tran, John Fioravanti, Rhonda Grubbs, Lisa Patterson, Bob Repko, and from the Law Department, our first assistant, Amy Fitzpatrick, also served in the committee to assist with its work. And so with that, Commissioner, I want to end on a note of great gratitude and thanks to all the members of that committee for their hard work, which we look forward to discussing more in the new year.
Thank you. Any questions?
No, thank you for that.
Thank you. We move to brief public comments. We have several, and everyone who speaks has 2 minutes. The countdown will be on the wall if that's helpful. And first is Charles Dietzold from West Rock Hill. Good morning.
We have an issue with trash collection. I live on a cul-de-sac. It's 4 houses on a cul-de-sac that's considered a private road, which means basically we pay full taxes and get no service from West Rock Hill other than police. We had Waste Management servicing a community for 34 years. Abruptly, on August 15th, they notified us they were coming to pick up our containers and would not collect trash any longer. Subsequently, we were able to get Whitetail, which is another carrier out there in that area, and they collected one time and then they stopped. They said it was unsafe turns, or whatever the reasoning was. But the reality is, after 34 years, we had no trash collection. There's a ordinance, I guess, through the Department of Environmental Protection that says everyone needs trash collection. West Hartfield claims they were in compliance. They were not. We notified them. Only after I attended 2 meetings did they start to do something. Whitetail, which was the second vendor, okay, they never went to Waste Management to find out why after 33 years you abandoned us. They said they couldn't make a left-hand turn. They thought it was too dangerous. Well, Whitetail collects garbage prior to our place and then 30 yards. It is a private road with a cul-de-sac, okay, maintained and everything else. Well, here we were stuck with no trash collection. Obviously, trash, it's not a nicety, it's a necessity. We got 1-800-JUNK to come out once a month. We were allowed 1 container for both recycling and garbage at the cost of $50 per. And now we've contacted Peterson's, which are going to collect our garbage, but these Waste Management and Whitetail eaten up or bought up all the small vendors. So once we're done, we're stuck. And I need somebody to help us.
Okay, we need to ask you to stop that because the time's up. Now, honestly, I'm not sure how we can be helpful. We don't do trash collection, it's a municipal, but we could have someone from our planning commission. Is anyone here from the planning commission? So if we can make sure to get your name and number, we can have someone from our planning commission call and see if there's some way we can be helpful.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, if this other company abandons us, we're stuck. We can't burn it.
Okay. Actually,
The solicitor agreed.
okay, I have to ask you, we can't interact back and forth, but if the solicitor's correct, we can also have consumer protection call you. So we'll have someone who's in the back of the room we'll have consumer protection also call you. They should be helpful. They work with our law department. If you could give your name and number to someone in the back of the room. Thank you.
We've contacted several, block away.
Mr. Gallagher, can you do that? Could you get his name and number? And thank you. We'll be in touch today. Mr. Gallagher's in the back, very back. Jamie Walker, Chalfont.
Hi. At the last commissioners' meeting, Chris Daly, the head of security, told me not to go to the next meeting. He claimed I was not wearing a mask. I was wearing a mask. He then told Megan and myself that we come to these meetings to push people's buttons. I believe that this man was sent by the commissioners to bully and intimidate citizens of Bucks County to stop making public comments. This is a violation of our rights, and we deserve an apology from Mr. Daly and the commissioners. I'm also wondering why we are forced to wear masks in a public building. The ex-health secretary, Allison Beam, who was not a doctor, recently resigned because she created an unlawful mask order for children in public schools. The Supreme Court stated that she did not have the authority to force people into a modified quarantine. Commissioner Marseglia, why do you think you have the authority to quarantine people? The leaders of this county are grossly abusing their power. Currently, there are 5 school districts unlawfully masking children. Neshaminy and Pennsbury are sending healthy kids home from school. You 5 up there are the reason that this is happening. You are contributing to learning loss and you are hurting children. The only way that you can possibly fix this is to pick up the phone today, tell these superintendents that we are treating COVID like a flu, apologize to them for sending that letter in August. If you can't do that, you should all follow in Allison Beam's footsteps. We do not need any more politicians getting involved in our schools in Bucks County. Thank you.
Thank you. Josh Hogan, Rock Hill Township.
When Alexander saw the breadth of his domain, he wept, for there were no more worlds left to conquer. There's a little Christmas movie reference for everyone. Now, we're approaching the point where there are no more worlds left to conquer in COVID hysteria. We finally can see some light at the end of the tunnel, and we owe it to our health director, Dr. Damsker. Back in the spring and summer, when the rest of us were battling over masks, Dr. Damsker was making a much bigger move. He was focused on the far more important issue of quarantine. He explained that we should start treating COVID like the flu, and thanks to him, Bucks County school districts now stand alone in all the Commonwealth because most of them do not quarantine healthy kids. They let them go to school. Since August, Dr. Damsker hasn't even been vocal, but the groundwork he laid got the job done anyway. Now that we're finally returning to normal, I turn back to you, the commissioners. What will your part in this story be? Up until August, I praised all three of you quite a bit. I actually thought you were going to wind up being the heroes of this story. But now, make no mistake about it, your hands are dirty. No matter what really happened with the silencing of Dr. Damsker, you abandoned him. You were there when he was ambushed by hospital executives. When the state illegally attempted to subvert Bucks County, you acted as their foot soldiers. And of course, you sent out that ridiculous letter referring to yourselves as monarchs. No matter what the truth is about your relationship with Dr. Damsker, your role in this story has changed, and now we're here approaching the end. Soon there will be no more worlds left to conquer. I'm left with one simple question that I think you should answer for all of us. You can put an end to all of the other nonsense, the theories, the bickering, the private meetings. One question: do you support Dr. Damsker's position that we should manage COVID using the flu model?
Megan Brock.
I just want to start off by saying I was a little late because I had to drop off a forgotten Santa hat to my kid's school, and I'm really sorry that I missed little Sebastian. If anyone who watches Parks and Recs will get that reference. Dear Commissioners, question 55 on the test to become a U.S. citizen says this: what are 2 ways that Americans can participate in their democracy? Here are 2 of the answers listed. 1, give an elected official your opinion on an issue. 2, publicly support or oppose an issue or policy. That's on the test to become a citizen. Those are ways to participate in democracy. We are privileged to live in a time and place in history where our civil liberties and civil rights are protected by a strong constitution. A place where we have the freedom and duty as good citizens to challenge our elected officials when they fail to uphold the Constitution they are sworn to protect. I know that my coming here makes you feel uncomfortable. To be honest, it makes me uncomfortable as well. There are a lot of places I'd rather be this morning than here. But I'm here because you are failing to protect the liberties promised in our Constitution. And I want my children to experience the same freedoms that I've known living in Bucks County for almost 40 years. I'm going to highlight a few examples of how you're destroying those freedoms now and for the future. 1, U.S. citizens have the right to free speech. Bullying, intimidating citizens because you don't look what they have to say is wrong. Whether it's Commissioner Marseglia comparing Jamie and I to a suicide trigger at a high school assembly, or Mr. Daly at the last meeting trying to tell us that we shouldn't come because we push people's buttons. This needs to stop. Secondly, U.S. citizens have the right to bodily autonomy. Bullying and intimidating citizens over their personal health choices is wrong. You've threatened the employment of county workers, as seen in the $90,000 gift cards that were on the agenda. I'm running out of time. It needs to stop.
Thanks very much.
All right.
And the next is Tricia Dobler, Chalfont.
I'm going to read an excerpt from an opinion piece published today in the Courier-Times by my good friend Megan Brock. As the community battled over masks, many missed or didn't understand what may be the most significant part of Dr. Damsker's guidance. He utilized a flu model of mitigation in schools rather than the measles model promoted by the CDC. What's so significant about using the flu model? For starters, the flu model recognizes that COVID-19 is endemic, meaning it's a virus that's here to stay. CDC Director Dr. Rochelle Walensky agrees and recently stated, "We have seen now that this COVID-19 is likely to become an endemic disease here in the US and really around the world. We have many diseases that are endemic, influenza being one of them. Seasonal flu mitigation does not include strategies utilized in measles mitigation, such as contact tracing, case investigation, and quarantining healthy exposed individuals. Instead, when dealing with seasonal flu, the CDC recommends non-pharmaceutical interventions. They're called everyday preventative actions and include staying home when sick, covering coughs and sneezes, hand washing, and routine cleaning of frequently touched surfaces and objects. So I ask you the same question that has been asked for months. Why are we taking public health directives from you and not our county health doctor, who clearly knows more and has been right every single step of the way. He hasn't used political gain to drive his recommendations. Can you say the same?
Tim Daly.
Tim Daly, Lower Makefield Township. I've decided to come forward today to speak about the emails that were released via RTK between the Bucks County Commissioners and Allison Beam regarding your unethical and corrupt behavior that occurred in August. Mr. Harvey, could you please make contact with your eyes? We've come here, we're taking time off from our day, we deserve that
You need to
courtesy.
focus on what you want to
No, he's
say.
for 8 minutes
We
hasn't
can
made
stop
contact.
this.
Don't tell me what I can talk about, Ms. Marseglia, you'll be facing a
I'm
lawsuit.
asking you not to be rude.
Taking back my time. Mr. Harvey, please pay attention. 8 minutes, you've disrespected people. Show us respect. So we can construe from the rulings that came that you guys committed an illegal act and that basically we need to go back to the August 15th ruling. Thanks for not listening to me, Mr. Harvey. It's all on camera that you're not paying any attention. You're completely disrespectful. So at the last meeting, Mr. Daly decided to go in and intimidate, as others have said. That conduct was unbecoming of his role and unacceptable. And it's clear that this was probably driven by the members of this board to intimidate, and RTKs are in place to obtain that information and prove that you guys did order him to do this. At this time, I call for the commissioners to retract any of the guidelines that were developed with Ms. Allison Beam and revert to the guidelines of August 15th, given everything you did was illegal. Mr. Damsker has been right every single step. Let's reiterate that. You guys have been wrong every single step. So lastly, for those on this board that are disregarding the freedom of speech rights, I'm placing you on notice now that lawsuits will be filed against you in a personal capacity if your misconduct towards the public continues. And that is a promise, and you know that's a promise because you all know who I am. If you want the RTKs to stop, it's very simple. Stop breaking the law. And if you can't do that, I recommend you follow Ms. Beam's path and resign. Leave our kids.
Thank you. Commissioner Harvey, comments?
I want to echo Ms. McKevitt's point, thanking Mr. Boscola, his staff. The process of making a budget for almost $500 million budget over the course of several months is a very difficult one. It involves all the departments, it involves all the agencies prioritizing things they need, looking at their fixed costs, and then Mr. Boscola wields a pretty mighty pen, and I've talked to quite a few department heads who are always a little nervous as walking into his office with their budget. And it's not an easy job to be the one, trust me, to be the one with the red pen. I understand that, what that's like. So, but it is something that we have to do in terms of delivering for the people of this county the best government that we can afford to give them. And I think this, the work he's done, the work his staff has done, and really the work all the agencies, departments do to really do that prioritization, figure out where they want to go, what they want to do. We appreciate all the work that goes into that. It's a very, very difficult process to do the budgets. Almost like half the year is just budget stuff. So he's happy to get this over with and move on to whatever comes next. Want to also just touch on the United States is coming up on a milestone, unfortunately, closing in on about 800,000 deaths from COVID-19 in the past 2 years. It's an interesting number. I was been teased by a few people about my history, and one of the department chairs made a comment about expecting a lot of Civil War reenactments once, so I will touch on a Civil War one, actually. When the Civil War first began, William Sherman was an officer in the United States Army who was pretty well respected. Told people he thought the war would last 4 years, and he thought it could kill upwards of 300 to 400,000 people. He was summarily drummed out of the Army, forced into retirement as the war began, because everyone thought he was insane. And he started thinking himself. It turns out he was half right. The war did last 4 years, but it killed over 600,000 Americans, not 400,000. Of course, William Sherman became a general, one of the leading generals of the United States Army, who helped keep the country together when there were those who would like to destroy it. And it was interesting because there were people early on who talked about the fact that, this virus could kill almost 800,000 people. And there were those who ignored them, thought that, well, that's just nonsense, that's just stupid, there's no way that could happen, these are just scare tactics, et cetera, et cetera. And here we are closing in on 800,000 deaths, despite the fact that we have mitigation measures in place, despite the fact that we took extraordinary steps to try and keep people safe, economically speaking, in every other way, and continue to take those steps, and we're still closing in on that milestone. Imagine what the number would be if we hadn't listened at least a little bit to some of the people who were telling us things we needed to hear. So thoughts, keep our thoughts to those people as we close on the holidays, on those who aren't with us anymore, those families who have suffered and continue, unfortunately, to suffer. Vaccines and boosters are still available at the 2 county sites, in the Neshaminy Mall and Warwick, up until the end of this year. Neshaminy Mall will be kept open. We're going to be moving the Warwick site to a couple doors down, same complex. I was talking to someone earlier today who mentioned that they went to get a booster, and it was getting increasingly difficult to find an appointment to get a booster because people are going to CVS and Walgreens and wherever else they're going. And he remembered, oh, wait a minute, I think Neshaminy Mall still has a site. And just went in, got it, walked out, no problems. And so for those people who are still looking for those shots, especially as the holidays come near and you're going to be gathering with family, remember those opportunities are still there to visit those clinics and just walk in and get your booster. Children as well. We have boosters for children as well. If we really want to keep kids safe, that's the best way to do it. And I'll just end with wishing everybody a very Merry Christmas and a very healthy and Happy New Year. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner DiGirolamo.
Just quick, and again, I want to thank Dave again for you and your whole staff for putting this budget together. I think it's a really good budget, and also Margie for your work on behalf of the commissioners helping doing this. I think we got a really good budget that Bucks County can be proud of with no tax increase. And also, I just want to say to Dr. Diamond, Jim, I am just in awe of what you've been able to accomplish over these past, 50-plus years. I don't know if you noticed or not, but I was, before I became an elected official back in '94, I grew up on my family farm here in Bucks County. In Bensalem, we were one of the last, if not the last farm down there in the Bensalem area. We grew a lot of vegetables, had trucks to the markets up in New York and Baltimore, and we farmed most of the time about 500 acres. So I'm just in awe of what you've been able to do, your travels around the world, through Africa, to countries that are probably struggling with their agriculture and feeding their people. So I'm sure you had a very, very big impact on those countries. And back home, here in Bucks County, across Pennsylvania, I still believe that agriculture is still the #1 driver of our economy here in Pennsylvania. And people maybe don't realize that. The number of people that they employ and the economic impact they have for our state is just has to be recognized, and people have to appreciate that. And when people from around the world come and visit the United States, a lot of times I hear the thing that they're most impressed with is when they go into one of our supermarkets, like an Acme or a ShopRite, and they see the display of the food, and not only the quality of the food and the produce, but the price for what we pay here in the United States for food. It's much, much less than what the rest of the world has to pay. So again, just recognizing our agriculture, and Jim, recognizing the work that you've done to improve that over the years. Congratulations and thank you.
Thank you. As this is our last meeting of 2022, and I've been here in 2021, thank you, and I've been here for 2 years, I just wanted to express my gratitude for the honor as being able to serve as chair. I'm thankful to be able to look back at all the work that staff has done for the past 2 years, We've live streamed our meetings. We have a brand-new user-friendly website. We have staff that work in the courthouse and in this building all working together, able to communicate and interact and share information in ways we haven't before. We're continuing to make major strides in terms of substance abuse disorders by the warm handoff programs, Narcan training, our drug treatment and alcohol treatment in our jail. We are beginning assisted outpatient treatment and mental health court, and we are in the process of building a forensic center, and we help put co-responders in our police departments so that we can help those with mental health issues. It has been a pleasure to watch us sign on to the Ready for 100 plan, enter into a power purchase agreement so that we can all work to heal this earth. I know that I and my commissioners are grateful that our legal department has been able to work to lower the costs and increase our ability to respond to things, including taking care of our children and youth workers in court. I am thrilled that we have been able to adopt a no wrong door approach to problems in the county with the hub, and I am as proud as all the commissioners are that we have done everything we can to get started on a diversity and inclusion program here. I want to thank Commissioner Harvey, Commissioner DiGirolamo, COO Margie McKevitt, Joe Kahn, and frankly, all of the department heads, division leaders, and all of the staff of the county for the tireless work you have done. But as we get ready to enter 2022, I would ask that we start to put away the disappointments and our anger, as well as the fear and the anxieties that we've all had the past 2 years. Whether it's been this pandemic, or it's been weather catastrophes, or political turmoil, all of us as citizens of Bucks County have gone through a difficult time. But it's also time to move on. It's time for each of us to put on our proverbial boots, dress ourselves in our American and our Bucks County values, go home and love your family and your friends over the holidays, and then come back in 2022, ready to restart, refocus, rejuvenate, recalibrate, beginning day one. I hope you will look forward, like I do, to our improving our overall physical health. It's something we need to get back to, that we focus on our collective community's mental health, because there are a lot of people who need treatment and assistance. I believe the damage that has been done to our environment, and in an effort to create a better environment for our kids and their kids, is going to take 3 times the energy and effort that this pandemic took. And I know that we all want to embrace the idea that every single human being deserves to have a roof over their head. And that roof needs to be available in every single zip code in Bucks County. So I thank all of you for this opportunity, for listening to me, and I am waiting with you to start the new year off positive and caring and focused on the mission we have ahead. Is there a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.